COVID-19 emergency has raised our consciousness of our connectedness and interdependence as a human race in an interconnected world. Dialogue is key to promoting the essential collaborative and transformative work we need to do together to emerge from this emergency wiser, kinder, and more willing to change our behavior and structures. Intergenerational dialogue is critical to enable us to leverage the energy and creativity of youth alongside the wisdom of age. We dare not fail.
Although we are the youngest population in the world and in history, the average age of African leadership is 64 years old and the average age of the population is 20. And so we have at least 40 years of generation gap. The truth is, COVID-19 pandemic imposed on us a new reality, which is dealing through the virtual world. But let's be mindful of the digital divide. 75% of Africa is offline. This makes us lose the offline opportunities of dialogue because of social distancing and quarantine. But it also makes intergenerational co-leadership even more relevant. This is the time for youth power, drive, creativity, innovation, time for young campaigners, tech gurus, and scientists to digitalize our African institutions and bring innovation to our leaders' response to the pandemic.
Technologies like video conferencing are clearly very valuable, and at its best they work and actually work really well. But at the same time there is still a magic to real-life interactions. And that's why us at Google, we feel that interactions in person, dialogue, collaboration, in person still adds a certain amount of innovative thinking and creativity. And in my books, that's also true of great conferences, and certainly the case for St. Gallen. I first went to St. Gallen 15 years ago and keep coming back because every time I go and come back, I have some fresh insights.
What a nice spot you've chosen, Professor Ehrenzeller. We're very thankful to the University of St. Gallen for its long-lasting partnership and yearly support of the Symposium.
I would have liked to welcome you this year to the Jubilee of the St. Gallen Symposium. Especially in times like this, when we are more than ever dependent on digital communication, it is crucial that dialogue is heard. A dialogue without a listener remains a monologue. This is the reason why the University of St. Gallen draws its strength from the community and the direct exchange of its members. The St. Gallen Symposium's yearly exhibits the importance of dialogue on a global and a cross-generational scale. We are looking forward to inspirational encounters on its 50th Jubilee back on our physical campus in 2021.
I say to myself, as long as the younger generation sees a better future ahead of them, then we surely will have one. Every generation has taken the responsibility to contribute to a common global destiny, and we know that it is the younger generation that will ultimately inherit the world from us, just as we did. And therefore, the most powerful and effective way to build a better world is to bring the young in with us and design the world together in such a way that it is conducive to their well-being and it embodies their passion. Then intergenerational dialogues will become crucial in this process because we need to impart not only knowledge and wisdom, we also need to inspire ingenuity and new vision.
Good evening, Mr. Barton. Could we have a short chat before you head on stage? As the Conference Chairman of the St. Gallen Symposium, what is your stance on intergenerational dialogue?
I think dialogue across the generations is extremely important, and it's extremely important because many of the toughest issues that we face as humans cut across decades at least. They involve multiple generations. In terms of our current situation where we are not able to meet like we normally do because of the pandemic, and we're using a lot more virtual means of communicating, there are challenges, but I think there are a lot of benefits that we're getting from it. I, for example, find it much easier to connect with people from around the world in one shot. But as we all get more comfortable doing this, it's easier for us to join meetings, and I think that's going to provide more variety of perspective than we've had before. That said, I still think we're going to want to meet together in person.
Let's finish our tour in the Aula, as this is also where the symposium comes to an end each year. Psst. In a few seconds, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance of Singapore, Heng Swee Keat, comes on to the stage.
The world is facing a crisis of an unprecedented scale. COVID-19 knows no boundaries. This is a global pandemic that requires a global response. This virus has taught us that collaboration is our best and only way out of the crisis. Countries, companies, and communities will need to work together to tackle this pandemic. From supplying equipment and essential items to showing solidarity with one another. Switzerland did just that by projecting the flags of countries impacted by COVID-19 on Matterhorn, including Singapore. Thank you very much. This pandemic will pass at some point, but other challenges confronting us will not. There are no easy answers, but there is no better time for dialogue within our societies, across ages, across borders, from conversations to collaboration, from collaboration to action. The St. Gallen Symposium was started 50 years ago with this spirit in mind. In response to widespread student protests over civil rights, capitalism, and the Vietnam War, each time we learned our lessons and emerged stronger. The issues we face have evolved, but the spirit of dialogue and action remains unchanged. I hope that the St. Gallen Symposium will continue to engage, inspire, and enrich our young, to strengthen intergenerational dialogue, to pass on the wisdom from one generation to another, and to grow the spirit of learning and collaborating across borders and cultures, and to tap on the youthful energies of our young people. Post-COVID, we can build back and become better. We are one humanity living in the little dots in the universe. We can build a shared future with a stake for everyone. This shared future begins here with all of you.
We've arrived at the end of the tour, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I would like to take the opportunity to thank all of our contributors for making this possible. Let's continue the dialogue at the 50th St. Gallen Symposium in May 2021. And last but not least, a message from the 50th IC team that dedicated their last 10 months to this student-run initiative.
What we have learned this year is that
we might not always have all the answers.
We might not always know what the future holds.
We might not always have the control over the course of the event.
But if there is one thing that, through fire and flames, has persistently showed us its value over time,
and that has always brought us further, regardless of the circumstances,
It is dialogue.
Dialogue between politicians.
Dialogue between individuals.
Dialogue between organizations.
Dialogue between genders.
Dialogue between nations.
Dialogue between generations.
Because it is only through dialogue that trust can be built and that answers can be found.
So we must continue to talk,
to listen,
to act,
until we see each other again at our 50th anniversary in May 2021.